Hello, and welcome to RoStrap Dive Episode 3. My name is Erados12, and today, well, there's a few things we gotta discuss before we get into it. One thing is, if you're in the crossword community, if you go onto the site, you'll notice that the roadmap has changed. There are a few things that got erased, some things got pushed further, yada yada. The reason why is because the second half wasn't really that realistic. Only the first half was, and the first half is actually quite good. Just needs a little bit of polish for certain items. But other than that, yeah, there's going to be some changes in the next few days, so keep that in mind. And also, I forgot to upload last week the last episode, which was on Springs, and I apologize for that. It's currently being uploaded right now. I will post the link or have a link in the description to this, so you will be able to see it if you missed it. Which everyone missed it, but it just wasn't uploaded, that's all. Anyways, let's actually get into it. So today we're talking about resources. Now before we do that, we always like to set up with RoStrap. So you go to model, no wait, home, sorry. That's where the game settings are. You allow HTTP requests, and then you go to RoStrap. Should be loading it shortly. There it is. And yeah, I'm going to discuss every single point of the RoStrap system with you guys before we end this video. Like, I'm going to discuss everything about it and what it would be used for, what you can use it for, or is it the same thing? But basically, you get the point. It's supposed to discuss certain key attributes that you would associate with this. So it's going to install it, and I'm going to put in server storage. And if you see here, Resources.lua is the first thing that it puts into the game, right? So let's see. Yeah, we actually have to get some things before we can do anything, really. So I'm going to get, I don't think I'm going to get Spring. I'm going to get Signal. I'm going to get either Procrastinate or Replicated Pseudo Instance. I'll get Pseudo Instance. Okay. And maybe, I don't know, Big Num. It's hard to choose right now, but we got to choose 3 libraries that we're going to use for the first one, which is actually supposed to be load library. Now, also, I'm going to be discussing this while looking at the documentation, so keep that in mind. Next week, we will talk about maybe Janitor or Signal, whichever one I have to choose during the week. But you will be able to look at Signal and Janitor. So let's see about that. Okay, so we've got loading libraries. And you can also get stuff too. But right now, I think we're going to focus on load library. So here's how you do it. First, you do local replicated storage. This is what's recommended, by the way. You have to get replicated storage first. Game get service. And this is very important for packages that you make yourself. If you don't know that, you should know it now, because I'm telling you, without including this kind of line, or maybe a variant of it, you will not be able to publish the package or even use it. So then go resources equals a replicated storage, wait for child resources. Now I'm going to do require with that. require, and then I'm going to do let's see, resources load library, right? So I'm going to do signal. Local signal equals resources load library signal. Now, let me show you one thing real quick. Here is where signal is at, right? That's because signal is part of the packages. But watch when I add this in. So I'm just going to call this I don't know what I'm going to call it actually. I'm trying to think of a name or what would I make with this. Well, actually, I've got an idea. Oh yeah, I think I can do it. I'll just call it inList. And then I'll do return function element list for I, V, and pairs list. Do if V equals element, then return true, return false. And this is the function that I use to determine something's in a list. And basically that's it. So what that was the library, right? So I'm going to do local inList equals resources load library inList. Now you're probably wondering, how does this actually work? How can you actually use this when they're in separate folders? Wouldn't the repository require that the module be outside of those folders? Well, I'm about to explain that in a minute. Okay, print that and print inList. So, with that being said, oh wait, I think I have an idea. So I'm going to do signal.new and inList hi h hello world. Now I think it should be right. Or actually it should be wrong, to be honest. H. Because the list is actually supposed to be like this. So, okay. We have our idea of what we want to test. So I'm going to test it out. Give it a few seconds. It should be ready. So now if I go to the output, you can see that the table actually represents the signal, and true represents what's in the list. Now, surprising as it seems, both of those are here. In list, which is from the server storage, .repository.game is here, and signal is also here. Whenever you're dealing with load library, whatever is in the repository is loaded unless it's inside of a module script. If it's inside of a module script, it will not load itself. So I can show you that right now. Let's see. I'll just do anything really. And watch. This is just an example. It's not meant to actually be used because it's inside of a module. And if it shows you an error, you should see it on screen. Yes. It's actually not an error. It's a warning. And as you can see here, that's because that was in a module. It does not appear. If you try to load it, you will instantly get an infinite yield on that. Don't try to do that. Just don't. Unless you're using it within the module, which can be understood, but still. Anyways, let's actually get to the next part, which is the get functions. So with that being said, I want to show you what we can do with the get functions. So let's just say we wanted to do something like maybe, well, actually, I think I have an idea. So local resources, or actually ping event equals resources get remote event ping. Oh yeah, call it ping pong. Alright, ping event dot on server event connect function player print ping. Wait 2 seconds, or actually 1 second, and print ping event fire client player. So then the next thing that will happen is this. We will go here. Yes, indeed, we will do it. And take that and do that and do on client event and do pong fire server. I know this is going to be an infinite looping thing, but hey, who cares? Okay, ping event fire server. Alright, ping pong ping pong. Okay, let's try it out and see if it works. It should, because remember, we're dealing with get. What it does, I'll explain to you later. Pong, ping, pong, ping, pong, ping, pong, ping, pong, ping, pong, ping, pong. You get the idea. It's continuing to work on both server and client. So basically what we just did there is we used a get function. Now get functions have two types. The first one was already showed to you. It's the type that deals with the instance type. Whenever you have an instance type or class name, basically, the class name is actually used in a folder, as a folder. So if you have a remote event, it creates a folder if it's not already there. And if the remote event is not already there, it creates that as well. So, yeah. The only time it doesn't create anything is when this happens. So I'm going to make a folder here, right? And I'm going to do, let's just say, items. I'm going to open up the toolbox, or actually, yeah, I'm going to open up the toolbox. I'm going to find a link sword. Yeah, I want to find a link sword because the reason why I'm going to do that is I'm going to show you what actually can be achieved here. And we're going to place this in lighting because we're not going to use it yet. Because I'm going to show you what happens when it's not there. So with that out the way, Let's do local sword, or actually do this in main, not in the local script. So let's see, game.players, player added, connect, function, player, see local sword equals resources get item. And yes, when it's plural, it becomes singular if you want to get something with the get function. And usually that means that there's a folder for it, right? You have to define it by hand. So I'll call it linked sword clone. If sword, then sword parent equals player dot starter gear. Yeah, that. So let's just see if that works. And if it doesn't, I'll explain why. So there's no sword, huh? Right. It's not installed within the items. So we have to take this, put it in. Let's see what happens. It should work, but if it doesn't, then that's another thing. Oh, it does. Okay, let's try it out. Huh, interesting. You can't really lunge with this sword, but as you can see, I have the sword. So, that's good. Right? So, we have that covered. Right? Basically, it gets the item. If the item is not there, it will give you an error. So, keep that in mind. Now, you can also do get folder. But really, is that necessary? I don't think so. It still uses the plural. It also catches results in the table so that you'll know what's there and what's not. So keep that in mind. Now you also have another thing you can do, such as this. So let's see. Okay, so we do this. And basically, when we go to the character script, right, we insert this. And we take this. Hold on. Sorry. I have the hiccups for some reason. Or are they temporary? I don't know. So we get that. In bindable event. Fire it off. See how it works. So basically what we're doing here is, and I will show you in a minute, ping pong. And there's the source. As you can see, there's a local bindable event. What does that mean? Well, it means it's in, if it's on the client, it's in your player scripts. If it's on the server, it's in server storage. When we mean by local, we mean local in relation to the model or side of the client server model that you're dealing with. For example, let's just say you had a bindable event on the server or in server storage, that will be the server part of it. If you have it in player scripts in a certain player, that will be the client part of it. Client and server are separated. If you want, I can have put in the description a link to the client server model article in the Roblox Developer Hub, so that you can see it. But other than that, yeah, basically that. So that's another thing we covered. Now I think I'm going to cover the last part of this, which should be local table. So that being said, let me show you what it does. Just observe what I'm doing, and you'll see what I mean. Alright, so let's try that out and see how that works. Okay, so as you can see here, watch this, it printed the greeting. Where did we store the greeting? Not just in any table, but in a special meta table that is cached. And not just cached, but globalized. What does that mean in this case? Well, have you heard of G, underscore G? Yeah. Underscore G is basically the global table of variables in which can and other things that can be used as a way to store information across one part of the client server model. So for example, on the client, what we just did was we did that, but differently. We didn't use G. We used a local table, which is catch in resources, and then you can get it back in resources. So if you actually understood how that works, let me know. If you didn't, I would love to elaborate via DMs. But right now, time has come, because that's the end of the tutorial and the end of the article that I was reading. Now, I'll also post a link to the RoStrap Discord if you guys need to actually look at it and get information from the man himself named Valadark, so that you can see exactly where this is going, how this is laid out. So yeah, anyways, my name is Erados12, and I will see you in the next episode, which will talk about either Signal or Janitor. See you later.